do I to 6F talk to my SO to 1M about needing him to keep my room tidy when he's staying over? Plus update. Me and her have been dating for 7 months, and we get on beautifully. Never had an argument. Always talk about things calmly, and we are very supportive of each other's jobs and studies. I can really see us staying together on the long run if we work through the practicalities of day-to-day things. When I was at university, I used to be a very messy person. However, since leaving, I have become very tidy, and I like to keep my house tidy too. I share a house with one other girl, and I am especially careful with the common areas. No one should have to live with my mess. I'm not a clean freak, but I try not to leave clothes laying around, like my desk clean, and don't mind eating on the couch, but don't like to leave dirty dishes around. R usually stays over 2 or 3 times a week at my place. I never stay at his house as he's still living with his parents. The last 3 weeks he stayed over every day as he had some family members visiting and he gave them his room. I said he could stay with me instead of sleeping on the couch at his house. This may be why the problem is more evident now. I was in a previous relationship for 6 years, and part of the reason we broke up was because I was the one doing all the grown-up stuff, taking care of paying bills, doing the shopping, cleaning the house. My ex and I would talk about it, but I never saw an effort on his side. I mentioned this to her when he first started to sleep over, and he was very understanding, and for a while I saw that he was making a real effort to help me around. He would do the dishes after we ate, not leave clothes on the floor, etc. However, in the last 3 weeks, I've just become a wee bit annoyed at how many times I've had to ask him to be a bit more tidy. He does help around if I ask him, but for example, this morning he was ready to get out the door and said was just waiting for me. I looked around and his towel was on the floor. There were dishes on my desk. I made dinner for us last night. The bed wasn't made and there were dirty clothes on the couch. We weren't rushing to go to work. We had planned to go for lunch and had the day off. I contemplated saying something on the spot but thought I would rest on the subject and plan how to better word it before bringing it up. At that moment, I decided to just tidy up and leave it at that. He was on his phone and didn't even notice. This is especially important as he has mentioned us moving in together in September. He is starting a new job and will have more income. I initially thought this would be a good idea, but now I am on the fence, as I don't want to go back to the situation I was in with my ex. I have expressed to him how I enjoy having a tidy room, especially on my days off, so I can enjoy the day and not worrying about the mess. That didn't seem to do the trick, so how should I approach it? Update. Shortly after, I chose an appropriate time to talk to her about the situation. I explained how it makes me anxious to come back home to a messy place, and would rather keep it tidy as I go, especially if it's when leaving the house, and I'm not late for any commitments. I also brought up that I thought it would be good for him to live by himself before we could consider living together. I explained that I used to be very messy when I first moved out of my parents' house, but with time learned the value of a tidy and clean space in which to feel relaxed. He thought about it and a while after said he thought I was right and he would like to have a go at living by himself, saying he was very excited even thinking about it. In the days after the talk, his attitude changed completely too. At times I would leave for work, and he would stay at my house to do some other chores or come and pick me up earlier and take the bins out. He started spending more time at my house after this, and we became much closer in the following months. In September, I started a new job, and for logistical reasons, we could not spend the night together unless we were both on a day off. The following day, he works Monday, Friday, and I work for shifts on for off. We would go a whole week without seeing each other for more than an hour or 2, which was really abnormal for us. We started to make a big effort to meet up at any spare 15 minutes between our jobs and other commitments. Sometimes one of us would drive to the other one after work just to say hi for 10 minutes and then leave. It really showed how much we cared about the relationship. Around this time, I was looking for a new house, as I had a raise at my job and could afford to live somewhere on my own as opposed to a shared house. I went to see a flat that was perfect for me, ticked all the boxes, including budget. The only thing was that as soon as I saw it, all I could think of was how it wasn't to be just mine, but mine and ours. That evening we sat down and I told him about the flat and what I thought as soon as I saw it. I explained how the efforts we had both put in the relationship over the last few months proved to me that we had a relationship worth cherishing. He asked me for some time to think about it and eventually said he too thought we should move in together. R said he didn't feel like he needed to live alone to discover himself. We then sat down and wrote a list of things we would look for in a place, including a budget and how much we would need to spend on furniture, etc. By this time, I had decided to forget about the perfect flat I saw, and we decided to look for another place together. A few weeks go by and the agency calls me to say the flat I had seen a month before was still available. The landlord had lowered the rent. We went to see it and R loved it as much as me. Over the last 5 months, he has surprised me every day. He has taken this flat and looked after it in a responsible adult way. R has been busy fixing everything that needed TLC in the house, spent time decorating the bedroom. He even started to cook and now makes delicious meals. His parents visit often and are super proud of him too. We are two happy peas in a happy little flat.